good, everybody? Joey J. Ping here, checking in live, man. RespectMyRegion.com, man. We are back on another episode here on the RMR Podcast Network, folks. Today, we are debuting the Midwest Cannabis Podcast. I'm also debuting my first series/show with a true co-host, my guy, my man, my travel associate in many missions across this last year. Kyle vanArtsen is here in the building, folks, representing Michigan. What's good, bro? How you living?
Hey, yo! I'm so excited to be here.
Good?
This is going to be fire.
It's going to be a good one, bro. I appreciate you, bro.
I'm really excited for this guest on here. This is Broc Crider with Trinity Cannabis here in West Michigan. And as a really close connection in this industry that I made early on, and now turning into a good friend. Without further ado, I'd love to introduce you and welcome you on the Midwest Cannabis Podcast.
Yeah, stoked, man.
What's good, Broc?
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Appreciate the invite. Excited to be here. First podcast ever. Here we go.
Let's go, dude. You know, I actually have a lot of interviews with people and it's their first time. You want to know why that is, Broc? Because you guys are busy growing weed. That's why it is.
True.
You guys, you were either growing weed illegally or growing weed legally, depending on how long you've been in the game. And growing weed, it doesn't stop, right? It's a all the time kind of thing, right?
Truth.
It's a task. It's an arduous task, but it leads to wonderful, delicious fruits. I've got a wonderful bag of delicious weed right here that I was smoking on my last episode, so I'm primed and ready. Kyle, are you ready? We've got some good questions for Broc here today. Shall we dive in?
Absolutely. Let's go.
All right, Kyle, we're going to let you lead first with your first question. So that way I can decide which of the 35 I want to start with first. We'll let you kick off the direction.
Well, one of the first things that I would like to know and our audience is, what was that moment that you started to fall in love with the plant? I know mine was early on, pop bottle days, or pop can days. And then as I educated myself, obviously I learned a lot more, but I'm really curious to hear how you got started with the plant.
Yeah, well, it all starts super early on with me, a little high school, baggies here and there,
Hey.
But, yeah. The true love came from me actually when I was out in Humboldt County, man. My background is in health physics and radiation protection, and it took me different places, decommissioning nuclear power plants, actually. And
wow.
One up in Humboldt County, went out there to do the job. You can't help but be immersed in the culture out there. Met some cool people, started growing, and just fell in love with it. It was just such a mix of science, agriculture, hands in the dirt, and then a little bit of outlaw, which just checked all the boxes for me.
That's pretty crazy, man. Like the amount of times I've heard, and I had a feeling Trinity Cannabis was going to be, some version of representation of the Emerald Triangle, right? I had a feeling it was going to be that. There's not a lot of Trinities related to cannabis around the rest of the country or world. So, but I've heard this story so similarly time and time again about a journey to the Emerald Triangle to learn or to work or to live, or even if it's just California, some version of moving west, right? I heard it in Colorado. We've heard it in Washington, Oregon, but California draws so many people in so many ways. It's just such a journey, cannabis, and it's a very similar path. It's almost, it's like the paths over time and in these eras where mass amounts of people journeyed somewhere for cannabis culture, right? Now, what was your first foray or first adventure into growing cannabis? And if you could throw back, what was it like then? Paint that picture for us of what that was like for you. What did you walk into in your first version of that?
Yeah, so just kind of meeting some of the people out there, and you go out and you check out all these rooms, and it's always such a hodgepodge. It's garages that are converted, it's bedrooms, it's all these different things. So my first grow setup was a 5-lighter in a back bedroom of a house I was renting out there. So
nice.
By day I was working at a nuclear power plant, and at night I was coming home tending to the ladies, and I just found it was my happy place, man. There was just something about it, just working under the lights, doing the thing, being a part of the culture out there. Just fell in love.
That's powerful, man. You know what's crazy is my grandfather, RIP, worked at one of the nuclear sites somewhere in Washington back in the early days. And I remember wandering around through there, driving one day and looking over there and seeing that, texting a photo to my grandma and her reminding me of that. And it's crazy to think about how powerful, impactful nuclear energy has been to society over the years, what that kind of stuff has become. And to really take even a step back or go a step further, depending on the perspective, you are doing a job that has been around for generations and so much time, right? In terms of nuclear energy, the power plant, those kinds of things. You think about how that translates into cannabis today. Is there a direct overlap from that experience? Have you done similar things? How is that translated?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the whole setting out there was super interesting with that power plant because it was really old. It had been there just sitting for a long time. As far as an overlap, there's tons of overlaps, honestly, now being on the legal side of things with the compliance and all the different things. But yeah, man, I guess I don't have a super great answer for that one.
No, I mean tons of overlap. I mean, right? The compliance element, that's huge. Dealing with the compliance side of things in Michigan has admittedly been tough for a lot of different businesses there. We were just talking offline a little bit about some of the challenges that are there in Michigan as a cannabis brand, company, cultivator, all of the things. I would love to chat a little bit about Trinity Cannabis, and then let's talk a little bit about some of those challenges. Right, you guys have been around for how long as a cannabis company, and what all do you guys do?
So actually, we just clicked our first full year of operation in the Michigan
Wow,
market.
congratulations!
Yeah, thank you. Crazy year, but a couple years to build a facility. So we've been at it for about 3 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like you said, our biggest drive is bringing that efficiency and that sunlight of our Humboldt roots out to Michigan. We grow in a hybrid greenhouse out here, rec cultivator, and our specialty is just old school sativa strains. We grow a lot of hazes, land races. We have some fun new sativa lines that we're working, but we really like to stick to these old school genetics, and genetic preservation for us is just massive. I mean, that's one of our biggest passions is just collecting seeds. I mean, our seed collection started back in the early 2000s, and we just hoard them from all over the world. Back in the days of little chat groups online and paying in Bitcoin to get seeds because that was the only way. So, yeah, we keep it kind of old school, man. We're simple. Really similar to the Humboldt roots. Or can't out trick ourselves here.
Kyle, why don't you pop in? I know you want to ask him some questions specifically about the Michigan market there and what they're up to. For me, I'm interested in hearing a little bit about genetics. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on the quality of what they've got going on over there. So why don't you feel free to dive in a little bit? Big dog here on the squad. Let's go.
Hey, well, I'm curious, how do you balance that passion for the plant with, like the practical realities of being an operator, specifically in Michigan?
Sure. That's a great question, man. And it's something that I think it's changed since I've come into the market. When I initially came in, I had such a legacy mindset and being from Humboldt to where it's like, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I don't care what anybody says. We're doing it this way. We're sticking to that because this is what we're passionate about. But, at the end of the day, you do have to feed the consumer on the other side, and you have to meet that criteria. So, this last year really has just been lots of pivots and quick transitions for us to intermix our passion, what we want to do, and then also, meeting consumer needs. Now, what we're hoping to do in the long run is, shift the consumer mindset on some things and just offer a lot of education that's just not out there. But it's such an intermix, and it's a day-to-day pivot.
I think that's super powerful to say as well, because you got to think, right, like I go back, my mindset's on the compliance, right, and like some of these challenges there. I always hear about the build outs taking forever, and a key part of that is having these different departments come through. And I think about, like, damn, you said 3 years, and I've heard that number so many times for people and their build outs, right? And it's like 3 years, cameras, equipment, bells and whistles with the fire department and probably the local police and all these different things, right? And so you're balancing this passion of Humboldt and trying to make it mesh with an entire system that doesn't really understand or never really wanted it in some instances, right? Like
100%.
can only imagine how that could really truly be a challenge, the financial costs that go into that and some of the frustrations. Now, circling back to I mentioned the genetics and stuff, and your guys' style of growing is this hybrid greenhouse. So let's unpack that a little bit, and let's talk about why you selected the genetics for your system in that hybrid greenhouse.
Sure. So really the hybrid greenhouse model for us was just efficiency based. Obviously, being an ultra competitive market, I mean, any legal market's competitive, but Michigan's, we have an oversaturation issue, and it's competitive. There's a lot of good growers out there. There's a lot of good products. So there's got to be a differentiator. And for us, it's a differentiation with our genetics, but there's also our cost of goods. And it's just about the bottom line. So that greenhouse gave us that flexibility to bring our cost of goods down, but still offer that high quality, like you said, that mixed light quality. And also the flexibility to grow 365. We're not in California and we don't have these super long extended growing seasons, but it's always sunny in that greenie. It's always 78 and sunshine. And even when it's -10 out, like it has been this week, we have humidification systems. And so we can grow those hazes. Our cost of good is low. We can increase that flowering time by a couple weeks to meet some of these haze demands. We can have, all these environmental controls so we can change to meet those equatorial demands of the sativas. Just kind of our little piece of heaven out there.
It's funny for me because when I went to Michigan, the weather, the region, like the terroir, if you would, however, whatever you want to describe it out there, it like varied, and it was very, very seasonally dependent. You guys have crazy winters, crazy summers. It's all 4 seasons, maybe even 6 seasons, because there's like hybrid. They're still mixing together, right? They bleed into each other. It's the wildest thing there. Yet there was really, really good cannabis coming out of that area, and so everyone's system is different. Everyone's situation is unique. Why Grand Rapids? Why? You already said why in terms of the building and all that, but that growing style. But why ultimately that region? And do you guys select strains from for that market, or are we pulling more Cali stuff? How do you guys curate that? Tell me a little bit about that.
Sure. So I mean, Grand Rapids was based solely on where we chose to live. When we decided to move back to Michigan, I had lived in mid-Michigan before, and we just didn't want to go back to mid-Michigan. When I started a family, we wanted to come back here and start this company. We heard Grand Rapids was cool, and we honestly moved here on a straight whim. We knew nobody out here and came out here just to make it happen. That's kind of when the legal side of things was coming alive, and then we just started property hunting. A bunch fell through, worked with multiple townships in the early days, helped them draft ordinance. Votes didn't pass our way, but kept clicking away, and this is just where we landed. So luckily, super close to home. As far as like choosing genetics based on the region, I mean, luckily we can really create any region to a certain extent in that greenhouse. So we're pretty lucky with the broad spectrum. We do, like you said, we do have some Cali genetics.
Excuse me.
We do run some Humboldt company genetics. Some of the homies out there running some of their stuff, and then some in-house bred things, and then a lot of old school Mr. Nice, Brothers Grimm, Sam the Skunk Man, just some of these really old breeders are some lines that we're working right now.
Shout out Skunk Man.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Legend in the game, legend in the genetics. Ultimately, a lot of stuff comes from that, from what his efforts were. Okay, so we could talk growing, we could talk cannabis, we could get into the science, and I have some more questions for that. So I want to touch on that, but I want to talk brand too. This show is going to be a balance, right? We gotta talk about products. We gotta talk a little about retail. We're talking a little bit genetics now. We're talking a little about the building. What's your guys' growing methodology? What mediums are we using? What kind of? We got HPS in there. You guys rocking LED? Shout out! Can we shout out some of the things that y'all are doing in the process? You don't got to share all the IP and give away the game, but
no, man, I'm such a believer of there's no magic IP in this game. I mean, some people will say that there is, and maybe some people have some tips and tricks, but I could give you my playbook. It doesn't mean people are going to implement it. And I'm an open book with everything. I always kind of have been with that stuff, you know? So,
it's agriculture, man. We're just growing weed. They can't copy what you guys do.
Yeah. So, in the greenhouse, we roll double-ended HPSs. Just the high bays. We have 96 of them in the greenhouse. In our veg rooms, we're running, I like the ceramic metal halides. We use LEDs for cloning. Our grow media, just Pro Mix PC. And we run a 3-part powder dosatron setup dripper. Again, real simplistic. We do run
easy.
Yep, we do run compost teas. I'm a firm believer in those. But outside of that, it's super simplistic.
You know, I like hearing that, and I love it when a group knows what their system and that works with them and what they're getting out of it. It's hard to implement change sometimes, but you guys have a big change coming up. You guys are expanding. You guys are scaling, right?
We're scaling. Yeah, we're adding a few hoop houses for summer light depths. We've been doing some live rosin production off-site with another processor, but we're bringing that all in-house here in the next few days. So we're going to be doing all of our washing and fresh rosin and everything in-house. So yeah, it's a big step for us. It's something we wanted to do originally, but just was kind of cost prohibitive. Things have gone well for us our first year out, made some great connections, and it's all coming together for us. So yeah, we're super stoked on that.
That's huge. That's huge. Yeah, I love when groups. I mean, it's cool to, and it's not. And I'm not throwing shade at you guys. This is not a comment at y'all. I'm not trying any of the products, nor do I grow, nor make rosin or any of this. But I love when brands start off with the rosin because it's like, yo, we got to do this, man. Like, you know, I want to do this. We got to give it to people. We know how to do this. We get it. These guys are great. Let's grow this shit. Let's press the shit. Let's wash it. Let's collab. Let's rock it. Let's get it out there. Like, I love that. But it also becomes a time when it's like, yo, we got to bring it in house. We got to do it ourselves. Let's make the art a little bit. Let's have our little touch on there. Let's let our boy or our girl, the artist, do their thing, right? And I love rosin, so I look forward to that. What do you guys price your products at in terms of shelf grading? Is it top, premium, high end? Are we somewhere in the middle, high? What is that like for you guys there in Michigan?
I'd say mid to high. You know, we always want to be able to offer a high-end product at a lower price point. Just, you know, our cost of goods is lower, so we can be a little bit more competitive there. We're not going to be the most expensive, and we're definitely not going to be the cheapest. But we're consistently great product at a good price point, and that's just kind of always been our shtick. We do a couple, you know, 0.5 gram live rosin disposables, 1 gram concentrate jars. We do some pre-packs. We do a 4 gram pre-pack. Actually, we call it the greenhouse eighth. So like our little form of the baker's dozen, get a little extra 0.5 gram in. Nobody's ever mad at that. And our branding on point, we have a brand person that we've worked with, and we do a nice glass jar with a bamboo lid for our pre-packs. And so it looks super nice, but it's at a competitive price. I mean, and you have to be out here.
Yeah. Kyle, let's let you slide. What you got next? What you got next for Broc over here, my man? Broc the OG, Trinity Cannabis in the building. Today's episode brought to you guys by Respect My Region, man. Make sure you guys like, follow, subscribe. Kyle, hit him with the next one. What you got?
Well, I want to touch on those live carts because there's plenty of them out on the marketplace. I mean, there's X amount of them that you can see at the store. But when I picked up yours, there was one thing that really resonated with me, and I'm a techie guy. I like tech. I like new stuff. And yours really stood out to me because it has an app that you can hook up it, like, so you can connect this thing and you can dial in what that pull is and that draw and really hone in that flavor profile. And I mean, shout out to you guys. You guys have some of the best tasting ones that we've had in this household, but
appreciate that.
Walk us through how you decided to go with that one, because that one really stood out to me.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, there's a lot of R&D. I mean, we're R&D heavy over here. we're nerds, so it's fun trying stuff. You know, if you're not out there trying new things, then
You're nerds, like you're not just sitting there trying your products. You guys are smokers.
yeah,
You guys are vapors.
yeah,
You're dabbers. Y'all are consumer. You're just ripping shit.
yeah, we all enjoy it. And I mean, actually, like a little caveat is my pops is a retired Air Force guy. He runs like pretty much the greenhouse all to himself. You know,
Oh, sick.
so he's the old school guy. He brings a lot of that love. So, but he, you know, even him, he loves these carts. So we tried out a bunch of different hardware that was on the market. We landed on these. They have the Omni Connect app where you can tap it to your phone. You can see battery power. You can kind of mess with the curve a little bit. You know, I'm always a little nervous bringing new techie stuff in, and we've had good success with them so far. And people like it, you know, when people are spending a little bit more, having that like flexibility and functionality or just that connectivity to their product, it seems to sell and people like it. Yeah.
That's fire. I didn't know that about you guys' batteries. Can you talk a little bit more about those?
Yeah.
What kind of
They're the Nord Pros, and it has an Omni Connect. So yeah, it's just like you download the Omni app and you can tap it to your phone. It connects the device. You can see battery life, filled capacity where it's sitting at, and then you can kind of tweak and tune the power curve there.
Does your Instagram have a photo or video on it of that?
I can take a peek. I'm sure there's a couple photos of the carts on there, but I'm not sure if there's an Omni Connect on there. I'm gonna try to
pull it up here in a second because I want to see that, dude. That's got to be cool.
I figured you'd be into that. And like I said, that thing's
because like you said, I'm busy growing all the time, man. So it's I need to be better at social media. That's for sure.
The live rosin disposals. Those are we talking about the sativa live rosin ones here? The ones that are at Knox and Cookies?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay, let me pull that up for these people to show them real quick. Come on, y'all. This is the beauty about doing this stuff live, y'all. We can pull this up right now. I just literally popped over onto their LinkedIn. All right, so what are we looking at here, Brock?
Yeah, so we have the Citra Presidio there, a Black Widow, and then that one's in Harmony, Incense, Haze, Chem Dog Cross. So
did you guys put the THC and the terp straight on the device?
That's the exterior packaging right there is what that is that you're looking at.
Oh, this is that's the inside.
Yep. So that's the device there. It's a postless device, and like I said, it has the Omni Connect app. Pretty streamlined. They're half grammars. Yeah.
Dude, that's sick. I love that, man. It's like Puffco times motherfucking what's the other one? The Carta shits. That shit is dope. I can control it with my phone a little bit. No way. I definitely want certain things to be a little bit this versus a little bit of that. How cool is that? How long did it take for you? Like at what point? What was that conversation for y'all like? Yo, I wanna let my people be able to control their disposables from my rosin. How did you come up with that?
Man, it's a lot of late nights laying in bed, scrolling, looking at stuff, just researching and, getting samples out. Customer service is always a big thing. So the company we're dealing with the carts, in case there's ever anything, that's huge. So someone reputable. So it's got to check a lot of boxes for us before
for sure.
So.
On today's show, guys, we've already talked a little bit about a variety of technology that you guys utilize, right? You've got the Dosatron, you've got the various cultivation tech in there, right? You've got this postless hardware here with an app for the phone, for the vape experience. It's going to be crazy to see where the future goes. Now, with Michigan being such a highly saturated market, a variety of products all at same price points, similar qualities, oftentimes running the similar California genetics, quote unquote, how do you guys really separate yourself? Like if I'm a buyer at a store, if I'm a buyer watching this episode, why Trinity Cannabis?
Sure. Yeah. And it's tricky and it's a multifaceted thing as separation. It's, we have an initial stage of separating ourselves when we're dealing with the buyers, just attempting to get on the shelf. So that's a different set of things that we have to meet. That's just business acumen. That's,
we're not just selling weed on the hill or in the city anymore, right? Like it's a full thing.
So it's communication from our end and our team and our salespeople, and how we package, how we send things over. And then, from a customer's perspective, it's just, we're a little bit different. I mean, a lot of our strains that you see out there are just they're not on the market. They're definitely trickier to
No.
find. So that definitely sets us apart a little bit. And it's just kind of how we do things, what we do. And like I said, man, there's a lot of good growers out there. There's a lot of good shit on the market. So
not everybody has to be the best at everything, right? It's about being good and great at certain specific things all the time, right?
Right. Exactly.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about some of the products, right? I want to talk a little bit about bringing some of the genetics, some of the products. Let's tie it all in. Fellas, Kyle, you know this, bro. I'm kind of picky. Brock, we haven't met, but I'm kind of picky about the weed that I smoke. I might not always smoke $400, $500, $1,000 LeBron ounces, but I'll be the first to tell you that if I don't like that strain, I'm not hitting your joint. I ask every time, right? Why would I smoke something I like just because it's free? Weed's everywhere now, and it's like $1 a gram everywhere, basically.
Right.
So it's like why can't we got to figure this out. So with you guys, it's basketball season. We just had the All-Star weekend, right? Hit me with your top 5 strains that you guys grow in terms of your favorites. Okay, starting 5.
Starting 5, we have a mango haze that I love. Old genetic. It's one. There's a little turn off to people that it doesn't blast out super high THC numbers, but as far as just conversations, getting out and doing stuff, activities, the mango haze slaps. It's delicious. We have a Dream Queen papaya that we grew. Beautiful, smokes great. Love that one. That's all around. The Farmer's Daughter, actually, which is a Humboldt Seed Company strain. Just that old school kind of stanky. I mean, all I can think of is just that Humboldt weed. We have an East Coast sour diesel that we do. I'm just a diesel fiend. I love it. It hits on all cylinders. It makes amazing rosin. Oh man, let me think of this last one here. Probably we do some Cinderella 99 crosses, a few different.
Oh yeah,
big Cinderella 99 fan. So right now
those are quality starting 5 right there, man. That it might not win the Olympics, but it's gonna go head to head and toe to toe. What I say bar for bar with anybody, right? That East Coast Sour D is timeless. That Cinderella 99 is a classic for the legacy guys. Right, the hazes are the hazes. It's going to do what they do. I think that's what an incredible variety of offering there. I've got a couple more questions that are a little bit more focused on. Again, there's like some industry stuff. We've got the licensing process, dispensary. It's tough out there, man. The black market, the traditional shit, the legacy shit. It's this constant pull and this give and take and a balance, right? And some days it seems like they're kicking our ass, doesn't it? Some days it just seems like the legacy market traditional is making more money than the weed stuff, right? And so one of the big things that I've seen is what's your response to people saying that the black market weed, that stuff grown in a garage in the house, is as good or as okay than what's available actually on shelves from growers that we know with facilities and good programs and good regimens and fire product? What do we say to those people where it's like, yo, bro, you're tripping. Like the weed's not better. It was not better back then than it is now. Number one, science. Right. And number 2, legacy market, traditional market weed is not better than the legal stuff. It might be on the shelf you go buy it from, but certainly not better when you think about when it's at its best, right?
Sure. Yeah, I would say there's still a lot of legacy shit out there that slaps, dude. I think it's still great. I think a lot of the passion and a lot of the OGs stayed on that side of the market because of how hard it is and just the bullshit that you have to deal with to get into the rec side of things. And on the opposite side of things, I think there's a lot of terrible weed on the rec market just because it's big corporations pumping out cheap ass, boom, 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 boom. People want low price point, high THC.
Michigan has big ass corporations and brands and stuff like that there.
Absolutely. There's a lot of big multi-state operators out here. In the past few months, we've seen quite a few of them start to go under, just from overhead. So from my standpoint, it's kind of nice. I mean, maybe we're coming over the next few years to a homeostasis with where quality will win out. So we're starting to see that, but I think there's two sides of that track there. I think there's a lot of great stuff on the legal market, and I still think there's a lot of great stuff on the legacy market. And I think what the legal market needs to do is start competing harder with the legacy market and stop cutting corners. But it's hard because, we're out here having to pay these crazy tax bills and these licensing fees every year. So, what do these guys do? It's all about production. They don't have the passion. They don't care about the quality anymore. It's all about that bottom line. And oh my God, we have an excise tax coming up that we have to pay. And that's what they care about. They don't care about Joey going out and getting a dope pack off the shelf, Dude,
I don't even care about getting the dope pack. I just don't want to get sick, and I want the weed to smell like the strain it's supposed to be from. You know what I mean?
Factual
stuff too. I mean, that's a rabbit hole for me. There's and that goes into like this quick money. It's that dry cure, boom, 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 dry it fast, test it, get it out there. We're losing everything. We're losing the body. We're losing the soul of that plant. Everything smells So I think the legal market needs to step up its game a little bit, slow down, and just get back to the roots, a little bit. And that's what we try to do. We don't. If I'm a few weeks behind on flipping, like, so be it, man. We listen to the plant, and that's just how we do things. And we just hope that shows at the shelf, and then that quality the customer appreciates.
Has that approach sort of leaned into what products you guys focus on too, and then maybe some of the the avenues that you chose to stay in for that on that product side? You mentioned you're bringing the processing in house. It seems like you found a lane that you wanted to stay with, and I think that mental approach and that strategy is paying off, right? You mentioned there's some other ones that are going out, but you're talking about expansion.
Sure, and it's efficiencies, man. It's a dollars and cents game on the rec market. It's where can I save a penny here over the course of the year that adds up to a few $1,000s, and those are the things that we have to look at, all the way from the way that we grow to how we package to the labor force that we have. I mean, there's so many things that we take into account, but with all of it falling under quality and passion, because if that drops to number 2 or 3, what am I even doing? And I can't do that. I personally can't do that from where I come from with this. But that we
selling your soul. Don't do it. We can't do it. We all can't do it. Some people can do it, but not everybody can do it.
That's it, man. And that's the benefit of being an owner operator, and there's not a ton of them out there. We bootstrapped everything ourselves. There's no outside investment or anything like that. So it makes a lot of things tougher, but it also makes some things easier.
Guys, we have about 10 minutes left on the episode, and we've talked about a lot of business and growing and tech and strains. I keep bringing up some of the problems going on and some of the struggles. Can we make it a little bit fun? Can we put some fun into it? Do you mind if we spice it up a little bit?
Do it.
Is that cool with y'all? Spicy, muy caliente. So I'm gonna roll another joint, and what I'm gonna do in the last roughly 7 to 10 minutes with you guys is we're gonna do some fun questions, right? We're gonna do some questions that talk about how to maybe some creative ways to solve some of these problems that we got in Michigan. Right, we're going to talk about some of the events going on out there. We're going to talk a little bit about some hypothetical situations too. All right. Sure. So, bro, if you could change any one thing out there, right, that was going to make your guys' business of cannabis, not just your business, but the general business of cannabis for you, the friends, the industry, the people these operators, right? What would you recommend? What would you like to see change? What's that one, man, this thing's really bugging me. What's that one? You know what I'm saying?
I'd like to see the CRA come down on these bad actors a little bit harder. There's a lot of people doing squirrely stuff, bringing outside product in, taking inside product out. They get caught, $5,000-$10,000 fine. They're right back at it. I'd like to see a little and just a little. I'm not a narc. I'm not hey, I want everybody to get in trouble, but it's like, hey, man, if we're all playing, we
gotta keep it even playing field is a little bit more.
There's an honor code with that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's easy to do, but it's like you said, it's an honor code. So I think that'd be my single biggest change for sure.
Yeah. Okay. In terms of events out there, events create culture. Events bring people together. Culture is not only created because of events, but it's a vital component to bringing people together. What are some of your top events there in Michigan? I know Kyle just had his event recently.
Tomorrow.
Not recently. Tomorrow. Sorry. Well, you have it coming up. That wrong word. What are some of the different events that you've experienced there that you've been to out there, and what do you look forward to in the future about similar events?
Yeah, so we're kind of getting new to the event game. We've been to a couple just outdoor events. One of the biggest events that we went that was amazing was called the Exchange, and it's basically a business to business event where it's like a speed dating for producers and retailers. And it's over the course of a couple days. You're having 15, 20 interviews a day, and we just made so many incredible connections out there. Met some amazing people in the industry. I know Kyle was out there. So that was definitely a top event. They do it twice a year. I believe they do it in Oregon as well, and Colorado.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're expanding that too. So shout out to you. I mean, you're the only reason I was there.
That was the awesome
event. That's right. Shout out to the Exchange for getting the shout out on the episode, man. Reach out, folks. We'd love to get involved. If they're from the Northwest, I wonder if it's the homies that we already know out there doing the shit. Interchange is the one from Washington. That does a speed dating thing. I wonder if that's their Michigan one or not. But regardless, that sounds super dope. All right, fellas, we're gonna get to the fun, the more fun questions. I've got one for you. Are you guys ready?
Oh yeah.
Trinity Cannabis. If you were gonna throw a music festival, Broc, 3 days, who's your headliners each day, and what's the vibe of the festival each day?
Oh, probably day one, I'd have to go with a little, maybe like a little Slightly Stupid, couple reggae headliners. This always one love for me. Probably second day, I'd have to maybe go a little housey with like a Odessa type headliner. Day three, I don't know. Maybe we bring it back, do a little crazy 80s or something like that. I don't know.
Ooh.
I don't know. Who knows? Little 80s MJ Thriller or something.
I was gonna say, are you a hairband guy? Because
not really hairband, but 80s, I'm not mad at it.
I'm an 80s baby, so I grew up in that era with all of the teased out hair, the Trans Ams, T-top Camaros. That's me, right? It's and not even just like the surface level music, like your big hair bands, but I do like, a lot of the Iron Maiden and, spending time in my garage with the old heads, that I learned how to grow from back in the day. That was their soundtracks back then.
I like that.
Big ass wooden speakers, you know what I mean?
Joey, so that's cool. Who you headlining?
Who? For me, split it onto me. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of the artists that I want to see. Don't get me wrong. I've been to music festivals and stuff, but it's for me. It's not even about like music events. It's about being at certain events. There's a couple of events that are really on my radar still. All right. I want to be at the Super Bowl. So I want to go to that. So that's the thing. Whoever's headlining at that, I want to be at that doing my music shit, doing my media week stuff. I want to be at the Super Bowl. I also love basketball. I want to do the same thing there. I think it's super cool how much basketball integrates the local community and culture from whatever that is. So I like doing that. Like whatever that local biggest platform is, I like that. I'm with that. But if I had to pick like a true 3-day artist, I'm going to put, I got to have Kendrick on there. I'm going to have to put Nipsey on there.
R.I.P.
I'm going to have to put... this is tough. Headliners? I'm gonna throw Glorilla on there because there's got to be a ladies' day, and Glorilla gonna have that place turned up. And like Glorilla, the label that Glorilla signed to has Yo Gotti, Moneybagg Yo, Mozzie. Like if it's Glorilla and friends, like that's a party, and there's you know what I mean. So that would be for me for sure. If you were able to set up a sponsorship with any professional sports team, who would it be? What would it be? What team? What are your thoughts there? If that was legal.
Man, any professional sports team, I'd probably have to go straight into Formula One. Maybe a little
to the top. Right to the top.
See you boys in Dubai.
I love that, dude. That's sick. That sport has become more and more popular. Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
I said I'll have our boat set up for us in Monaco.
There we go.
Dude. Yeah.
Now
now we're talking. That's fire. Okay. If you were going to have a top 5 strains to try before people die list, what would those strains be?
Top 5. Man.
Strains to try before you kick the bucket. If you are about to kick the bucket and if you've never tried weed, what do you try? Yeah. If you love weed right now and you about to get struck by lightning because you decide to wear a metal suit into a storm in the desert, not a good idea.
I'd probably go, and I know people are going to want me to go some fun new candy mix or something, but I'd have to go straight land race. So like straight to the equator, a Panamanian, a straight Thai, and then maybe to the other side and get like a straight like Pakistani indica. And really, I don't think you're going to get the wildest, craziest tastes and flavors, but you're going to understand where everything started. That's where all of these lineages come from. So I think it's super important for people. This is where it all started.
Let them know. I love that, man. I appreciate you sharing that bit of game right there. I think that's, people got to understand their cannabis at a higher level. And it's hard because ultimately there's so much going on in all of our lives that do I really know what's in these gummies that I eat? Do I really know what's in all these products that I consume? No. The ones that I put in my body, I try to know enough about. But at the end of the day, there's levels to it and there's only so much time, right? And but with cannabis, we have the opportunity to be able to create a greater, deeper connection, a richer experience, if you would. And so this is the end of the episode, fellas. I want to give Kyle the opportunity to ask one more before we get out of here, and then I'll give you the floor to say whatever you'd like, my friend. Kyle, what's your last one, bro? What you got?
It's been on my mind the whole time. I got one question for you. In a street fight, who's going to win between a grilled cheese and a taco?
Is this for me?
Damn.
Yeah.
My question's easy.
It's definitely grilled cheese.
What?
I live in LA. It's a taco for sure.
Yo, for sure. That taco's has got something on them.
Like a sourdough Colby Jack grilled cheese or something, slapping the shit out of it.
Okay, now we're going
hard
rounds.
Crust, though?
You bring up a point. You bring up a valid point. Valid competition. I counter with my homie Franco, Eli over here, and Oscar over here at my Ralph's. These are the homies. I bring them weed. We get deals on tacos. It's a trade-off. It'll change your life.
Yeah,
it'll change your life, fellas. Thank you guys again. Broc, I like to let the guests get something off their chest or say it or connect with their fans. If you could speak to the people out there that haven't tried your product, it's a future buyer or a bud tender or a manager at a store, a customer there, or somebody who just loves learning about cannabis culture, but maybe they don't even smoke. What do you got to say for them, bro?
So, dude, we always say Trinity Cannabis, we're for the dreamers, doers, and life enthusiasts. So if you fall into one of those categories, go out there and check us out.
Let's go, man. Tap in. Where can the people follow you at?
We have Trinity Cannabis _MI on Instagram.
Sick.
Broc Crider, LinkedIn, but Instagram most part.
You said Trinity _Cannabis, MI?
Trinity Cannabis _MI.
No, I got him backwards because I'm high right now smoking. It's the short-term memory. Let me pull that up for these people real quick before we get y'all motherfucking bouncing. Let's go. Where is it at? Boom. All right, you guys. I just want to show you guys their Instagram real quick. Give you guys a chance to go follow. All right. Boom. All right. Well, the good thing is we're going to collab post with you after this episode, so you guys will have a post up to collaborate on that one. But for right now, guys, be sure to tap in. Let me go ahead and screen share this one last time so you guys can just see the account briefly before we get y'all out of here so you guys can see what it looks for. There's the logo. We're going to get the post up here in a second, but boom, tap in, folks. Trinity Cannabis _MI on today's episode. Broc, I appreciate you again. Kyle, thank you. Our first episode together officially, folks. Episode 1. of the Midwest Cannabis Podcast, featuring Trinity Cannabis, representing Grand Rapids, Michigan. I love you guys. Broc, thank you again. We'll see y'all on the next episode. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch. We'll see you next time.